thanks for joining us once again.
No problem.
Your new album is coming out in the fall, Weapon in Mind. And what can we expect from the album? Is there like a general concept that you've been working on, or?
Well, at first when I wanted to make a new album, I was actually working on an acoustic project that I've been working on for a long time. And I'm still gonna release that one, but the second I actually decided to do it, my producer, the one I want to make it with, he had twins, and so I realized that we weren't actually able to get this album or that album out as soon as I wanted it to be out. And so instead of kind of waiting for him and being bored for a long time, because that happens, I decided to kind of start collaborating with some producers that do something completely different to what I do. They make hip-hop music, and they're really, really, really good, but in a different genre than I. And I thought that, okay, so I write songs on my coffee table, and they're all done when I go into the studio. And even though I don't have any instruments or anything, I'm done with the song. And so I thought that my songs might kind of endure actually going in and being transformed into something different, because it's still me, and I still have my voice and my lyrics, so people will recognize me. So I gave them a challenge. I said, here you go, here are some songs, and you know, go crazy, do whatever you want. And they sent them back to me in full productions, and I started laughing. Like, this is the craziest thing I've ever heard, and it started scaring me, but in a good way. And when I get scared in that way, when you go outside your box, when you're just like, I'm not safe anymore, I need to do it. So this album is it's a Mena album, but in a different type of suit. It's more electronic, but there's no genre. All the songs go from one genre to another, and I kind of call it like a candy album. You know, when you put your hand down like a bag of candy and you don't know what you get, and something salty and something sweet, but it's all fun. I feel like this album is that. There are still ballads, there are still songs that you'll remember. Some of them are actually not that far away from what I usually do, but then some are like completely off track to what I usually do. You'll hear some of them tonight, actually, if you're gonna see the show. And yeah, I mean, it's my favorite thing. It's seriously, this album is something that I'm listening to every single day, and I'm not sick of it yet.
But you say it's like a candy jar, but does it still have like a general theme, or is it more like mixed this time?
Lyrically it does. It started with "Fuck You" because I wrote that, and I realized that I hadn't actually allowed myself to kind of write those types of songs where I'm confident. And then after a while I realized that I was more confident, and I needed to write some songs about how I got there, the good, the bad, and the ugly, to how you become someone you like. Because I can say this now, but I've had a hard time for many years to like myself. And I think you've seen that like you could actually physically see it, but I think that I didn't want to tell people that much, because I always wanted to say that, no, I'm fine, because my obvious problem for a long time was anorexia and stuff like that. But when that goes away, people don't want to hear you complain anymore. But for a very long time, I didn't like myself. And I decided, because that's what I do, I guess, to just transform and say, you know what, I'm going to start liking myself. Whether I'm 50 pounds overweight, or whether I'm underweight, or whatever I look like, or whatever personality I decide to have that morning, I'm gonna start liking myself now. I don't want to get there. I want to be that now. And so this album, I mean, not all the songs, of course. It's a lot of things. I have a tendency to write songs about everything because I like that. But in general, it's a more confident album.
But then had you written a lot of songs that didn't make it onto the album, so you kind of got to choose, or?
Yes, and I do realize that I actually have I have a couple of albums worth of extra material, and so to be honest with you, I think that those songs also need to get out there. So one day I will, I guess, release them and say, here you go. But it'll be like a fan thing.
Mm.
Yeah.
And do you
I'll
have
put them on SoundCloud or whatever?
Yeah. Do you have a favorite song on the album?
I have a lot of them. I seriously love them all. There is a song that I think you guys will like a lot, and I know that Germany wants to release as a single. It's a ballad, and so the reason why I didn't want to, it's a very strong song. The reason why I didn't want to release it is because if I released that song and people went to buy the album, they'd be shocked. But it's called I'm Only Human. I love that. My favorite one to play is a song called Caught Off Guard. And that's a song that I wrote about my single friends. There seems to be a theme in my group of friends that are single, that they're becoming a little bit desperate. Like they're pushing 30 and they're thinking that, oh, I should have someone right now. And so this is my song to them to be like, relax.
And you also have a single coming out soon. I always like that. And what motivated you to write that song?
See, that's the song that kind of got me on the track to where to what this album's about. That song is the most important song on the album to me. I guess, I mean, it's also the inspiration behind the title of the album, Weapon in Mind. The inspiration behind it is, I start by saying, it should make me admit I'm broken, shouldn't it? After all that I've preached, I still can't accept that I'm not a fit. And I felt like a fraud. Like I would say in interviews, like, oh, everything's good now, and everything, and it wasn't. So I wanted to kind of admit to that, to be like, see, I'm not there yet, but what I've always liked about me is that I don't give up. And I needed to, and every time I sing it, I think, that's exactly, it's really true. Alright, I might be a little, I have lots of sides to me that I don't like, or that I'm like, but why are you doing this, Maria? But then I also have this side that I never give up on myself. And whenever trouble comes, I put my little boxing gloves on and I start fighting. But for what I believe in. And I want to become a really good person. I want to be a good person to myself. Because when I am, I'm a better person to people around me.
And your first two singles, Fuck You and I Always Like That, they have a different sound to them, and you said you had new producers. Mm-hmm. Was that sort of the reason for the change, or did you also feel like you kind of wanted to?
I was stuck, to be quite honest with you. After Victoria, which I love, but it went into a really dark kind of atmosphere, and I realized if I'm going to make that album again, I'll write the same songs. I was just stuck, and I think that I hope that the fans, because some of them will like it and some of them won't, I wish that they understand that this is kind of my proclamation of love to them. Because if I was going to safe it, I could write a whole album full of ballads and I could put it out there and safe it. But it wouldn't make me grow as a songwriter or a singer. This is me trying to grow. Is it what I'm going to sound like forever? Not at all. I might go back. I would love to just do a completely acoustic album once. Because, to be like, these are just really good songs and they don't need anything. But I needed this. I need this live. I need the whole energy of the band is completely different. My bass player, who's the only one left after 10 years, he's just like, he's a different person on stage these days. He would like on Victoria just stand and play, but now we're all so hungry, and so whatever happens with this album, it's gonna get me to where I'm going. I think that's important. I think people really need to understand that I'm not changing, and I'm not gonna change to stay there, but I need to. What is up with these people?
We can't wait to hear you live. with the songs tonight, and then also maybe on a tour later.
Absolutely.
Do you know when you're coming on tour in Germany yet?
It will be. We usually do. We're gonna do some shows, some separate shows, but then it won't actually be until after Christmas.
All right.
Yeah. But I will come back. I will do promo things. I will be here, but I won't actually like go on the tour until then. And we're not doing a Norwegian tour or stuff like that. We're not doing that until November. And the reason why the album's not out until September is because I always do that. I don't know why.
I guess
but I have
that's
the
a
album
good
cover
reason.
and everything.
Yeah.
You guys should see it afterwards. It's a beautiful cover.
Can't wait. And there's been, I guess, growing requests from people on social media asking like if you would do a US tour, but I also remember you saying you weren't maybe too interested in like a career in the US and what it sort of entails, but do you think a US tour would be realistic in the future?
You should never say never when it comes to stuff like that. I need to, if I ever went back to America, I need to do that on my own terms. People don't understand how big of a deal it was last time I was there. They didn't stop. And I was so young and I was so sick, and I just, my whole memory of that time was really bad. But I'm in a different place now, so if I ever went back, it would be nice to kind of start here and then kind of slowly. But just today we talked about doing some shows in New York and LA, and we're gonna do small shows, but just because of all those people, because I feel like it's unfair. It'll be something that I'm gonna have to pay out of my own pocket, because it's an expensive thing to have a big band. I wish I could do it all myself. Maybe on this album I can't just go on stage and push a button. But I like their company.
You also said that you were in a pretty good place right now. You're pretty content. But I mean, what's next? What's left to write about for you?
I get that question a lot, and I wrote a song about it because I'm getting that question so much. It's called Interesting. It opens the album, and I believe that life isn't black and white. There's so much to write about. Just because you get married doesn't mean you're now in a flawless relationship. Just because you've lost weight doesn't mean you're now completely. I mean, there's so many things, and there's also so many happy things to write about, and that's been a really big challenge for me, because I say in which song? Yeah, you heard The Ones You Love. I say I'm a glass half empty girl, and I'm always gonna be that. I have this melancholic side to me, which I really find. I find melancholy really beautiful, and so I'll always kind of look for the gray, a little bit. But I think life is more interesting now, a lot more interesting. I've chosen to live my life with one person. I'm 27 years old. The hell did I get myself into? It is so much fun. It is such a big challenge, and it's so inspirational. So, yeah, you don't have to be like miserable just to write songs. You can actually be happy too.
But does it feel different for you now to be married, mentally?
No.
Just the same?
Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of freedom in our relationship. And I have a really hard time when people, because I'm very active on Instagram. I've slowed down on Twitter and Facebook because it became really like a Wild West in there. People just kept sending me things that were mean and dumb. A lot of people are really dumb. But a lot of smart people too. But I find it hard when people start having opinions on my relationship, because nobody really knows me, really. Even though I write about my life, I also write about other people's life. So, and I've talked to all my friends about that I use their lives as my own in my music, and that's how we do it. But not all the songs are about me. So when people start having opinions on my relationship because they think that some of the songs and whatever, that's hard to me. But there's a lot of freedom in my relationship. I'm not Ivan's wife. I am Maria. and he's not my husband, he's Ivan, so we're just really content being together.
Let's actually talk about Instagram, because you post a lot of like fashion pictures as well, and I guess you're really into fashion.
I'm really into fashion.
And what if, for example, one like big, I don't know, like a company would come and ask you to be like the face of their new campaign? Would you consider doing that as well?
I talked to my band members about that yesterday, because some people think I'm sponsored by Acne, which I'm not. I just have a really bad addiction. Although I love fashion and I love shopping and I take pictures and I post them, doesn't mean it actually has anything to do with my music. It doesn't. It's who I am, and when I'm on stage, I prefer wearing jeans and a t-shirt. Not that I don't have amazing dresses, because I do, but it doesn't have anything to do with me as an artist. I want to strip it down. I don't want to distract people from the music when it comes, because some people have a look, you know, and my look is who I am, and it's not gonna. I don't want that to distract anything. If it's something I can stand behind and I can say, you know, I really, really like this label and they want me as a spokesperson and this is something that I could do, yes, I do it. But to be quite honest with you, I don't think that's a good distraction from my music. I really don't. I've been asked to do stuff like that before. I've even done like a campaign. But I want people to buy my music. I don't want them to like buy a t-shirt I designed. I've been asked to design like sunglasses, and I was just like, no, buy Wayfarers.
But still, actually, on Instagram, you also post a lot of pictures of spinning classes and going running, like at 5 a.m. in the morning. What does sport sort of mean to you? Is it like a way of sort of refocusing, or yeah?
I found myself in a spinning class, and I don't know what that is. I don't understand it. It just makes me so happy. It makes me happy because it actually, I mean, it releases endorphins, so you become happy by just naturally. But it also makes me really happy because I'm really good at it, and I like being good at something because that makes me confident. I'm really, really good at it. I could kick anyone's ass on a spinning bike. I'm not a good runner, but I like doing it. And it was nice. It was nice to find something that finally worked as well. Like my body looks better than ever. I look healthier, and it doesn't feel like I mean, it doesn't feel like I do it because I have to do it. It feels like I do because I like it, and I can eat whatever I want.
What are your goals for, let's say, the next maybe 10 to 20 years?
My contract is done. I've released 6 albums and I'm 27. And I love this album. And I don't know. I want to travel. You might not notice that I'm gone, but I might be gone for a little while. And then I'll come back when I have something to say. But I will never stop writing music, because when I write music, that's when I love myself. You know, when I actually can sit down on my own, nobody's watching, and I write a song, and I think I wrote a good one. At that little moment, I just love who I am. And then it goes away, and then I have to chase that song again.
But then, like, let's turn it around and say you're 80, looking back at your life. What would you then have liked to accomplish by that time?
Career-wise, I think I'll take whatever and whoever will listen to me. I don't have any goals. I don't have any countries anything. I'll just be happy. I would love to do some tours because I love my band and we have such a good time. And I need that for myself. Looking back at my life, what I want people to say about me is that I was a very honest and a nice person. I like that. I like when people say that they can tell me anything and they can talk to me about anything. Yeah, I am the person that I am, like, in my lyrics when I'm at my most honest is also who I am, and I like that. Some people think it's too much, but I enjoy it.